A metallic cylinder-shaped object tails a commercial jet. Thousands of witnesses in Mexico City watch as an unknown craft flies over their heads, and a V-shaped UAP is captured on camera by 2 witnesses in Los Angeles. These are more unexplained objects in the sky caught on camera. This is some pretty incredible footage that's been floating around the internet for nearly 2 decades now, but it's only recently started picking up more attention. It first showed up on 4chan back in 2008. It's known as the flyby footage, and people on UFO message boards have been talking about it for years. It's a mysterious video. We don't know exactly where it was filmed, but we do know the plane was a Boeing 737. The video we're looking at also looks to have been captured by someone filming a screen, so it's not the original footage. This is probably one of the most up-close and personal pieces of possible UFO footage ever captured, though. Back in March of 2024, a passenger named Michelle Reyes was on a commercial flight over LaGuardia Airport in New York when she looked out the window and saw something that she definitely wasn't expecting. She caught a video of a flying cylinder, this dark metallic looking object right next to the plane. It looked like a solid, sleek tube. Michelle was understandably freaked out and reached out to the FAA and even NASA to see if they had any record of it. According to the reports, she said, "The first thing I did was email the FAA to let them know what I saw. Maybe it was a safety hazard, but unfortunately, I haven't heard back from them. They didn't acknowledge my email." The footage ended up getting a lot of eyes on it, including some UFO investigators. Ben Hansen, a former FBI agent who does a lot of work on these cases, looked at it and ruled out a drone or bird. In his words, "We found no evidence that it's been faked or CGI. It's there, it's very clear." This is another mysterious video, supposedly captured in 2025 by a passenger in a plane. We see a classic metallic-looking flying saucer cruising right past the window. It starts with a shot out the window where you can see the plane's wing and the bright sun in a clear blue sky. Then this dark disc-shaped object enters the frame, flying at what looks like the same altitude as the jet. It's got that stereotypical UFO look, smooth, rounded, and reflective. The camera follows it for a few seconds as it moves across the sky. You can clearly see the sun glinting off its surface. I'm not sure exactly where this was filmed, but apparently it was somewhere over the USA. In late August of last year, 2 people in Los Angeles were hanging out on their balcony late at night when they spotted this massive black V-shaped craft flying across the sky. They didn't just see a flash and miss it, they watched it for about 25 minutes. One of the witnesses described the initial shock of seeing it, saying, "While sitting on my balcony, I saw a light in the sky, bigger than the stars usually appear. When they zoomed in with their phone, they realized that this was not a satellite. It had a distinct V shape with what looked like 9 white lights glowing along the edge." He eventually lost track of it around 11:38 p.m. Researcher Mark Christopher Lee thinks it's likely some secret military technology being tested out of nearby spots like Area 51 or Vandenberg, saying, "I'm convinced that a lot of famous UFO incidents are basically highly advanced terrestrial technology that is 30 to 40 years ahead of what we think they have." Next, let's talk about one of, if not the largest UFO sightings in history. So on July 11th, 1991, Mexico City was in the middle of a total solar eclipse, the last total eclipse of the century. But thousands of people looked up and saw way more than just the moon covering the sun. While the city was plunged into darkness, people all over the place started spotting this shiny metallic object hovering in the sky. One of the first people to catch it on tape was a TV exec named Guillermo Arriaga, who was filming the eclipse from a rooftop. After the footage aired, TV networks got absolutely hammered with calls. Other witnesses started coming forward with their own tapes, like a 19-year-old student named Eric Aguiar, who said, quote, "We saw this dot was shining brightly. It wasn't a dot anymore, it was a large object, and it was giving off light, it was shining." About 60 miles away, a businessman named Louis Lara caught a similar object on camera. What makes this case so hard to debunk is that multiple people shot video of the same type of object from different cities at the exact same time. This clip was supposedly filmed in the UK back in 2011 and shows a classic metallic saucer moving through some trees at the end of a field. The camera work starts off pretty shaky, but once it zooms in, you get a much better look at the object. It's just hanging there, totally still, before it starts to glide toward the tree line. The way the light hits the dome makes it look like a solid physical thing, not just some cheap digital trick. But the craziest part is the ending. After moving slowly for a few seconds, the object just suddenly vanishes into thin air. Now, you've always got to be skeptical with stuff like this, of course, especially when there's little to no information on the video. Is it CGI, a physical model on a wire? I can't say, but it's a strange one. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide. Share your thoughts down in the comments. This video was shot in Williams, Arizona back in February 2024, and it's pretty intense. We see this dark disc-shaped craft hovering in the sky as the sun is setting in the background. Definitely creates a pretty dramatic looking scene. You know what else adds to that drama? The bright white beam or discharge coming from the bottom of the flying object. It looks like a scene out of War of the Worlds. This story popped up on Reddit about 8 months ago, shared by a user named PositiveSong2293, and it's similar to the V-shaped object that we talked about earlier. The original footage was captured by Jonathan Jimenez on June 28th. He was standing there in total shock while filming the night sky. The object was moving steadily from south to north. What really grabs you is the shape. It's triangular, kind of looks like an Imperial cruiser from Star Wars, but what are we actually looking at here? Is it just a high-end drone being flown at night, some kind of classified military test, or could it actually be an alien craft? As always, what's your take on this? This footage out of Turkey may be some of the most convincing UFO footage ever filmed. Between 2007 and 2009, a night guard named Yalcin Yalmen filmed these objects over the Sea of Marmara using a camera with a massive zoom lens, and when he zoomed in all the way, he didn't just find a metallic disc-shaped object, he caught what looks like a cockpit or bridge. If you look at the zoomed-in frames, you can see these dark shapes that some people, many people actually, swear are the silhouettes of two humanoid pilots with large heads. The scientific community in Turkey didn't just brush this off either. The original tapes were handed over to the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, and they reportedly analyzed the film and basically said it was 100% authentic. So, not CGI, not a physical model or a toy, and there were no double exposures or tricks used to fake the footage. Of course, the skeptics have a different take. The most common rational explanation is that this is just a complex mirage where light bends over the water to show a distorted image of a cruise ship on the distant horizon. But not everyone buys that, pointing out that a lot of the sightings happened late at night when the sun wasn't around to create that specific temperature inversion needed for a massive mirage like that. And this phenomenon is one of the coolest natural mysteries in the world, Naga fireballs. See, every year, right around late October, crowds gather along the Mekong River in Thailand to watch these glowing reddish orbs shoot out of the water and vanish into the night sky. Locals have been watching these ghost lights for centuries, long before they were officially dubbed the Naga fireballs in the 80s. While they're most famous on the Mekong, they've also been spotted in smaller ponds and rivers nearby. They vary in size, ranging from tiny sparks to as big as a basketball, and on a busy night, thousands of them can rise from the water along a 250-kilometer stretch of the river. The most common theory is that old organic gunk at the bottom of the river rots and builds up pockets of methane or phosphine gas. Eventually, these bubbles pop up to the surface and catch fire the second they hit the air, but scientists still haven't actually proven why it happens with such a strict yearly schedule. So the Naga fireballs are still a bit of a mystery. And that has been the video for today. I will catch you, yes, you specifically, next time.